Hey, Vsauce. Michael here.
Hey! Flat Earth asshole. Jacob here.
Hey, the Eternal Vanguard. Tom here.
In 2003, researchers did the measurements and found that Kansas is, in fact, literally flatter than a pancake. Of course, the Earth is not flat, the Earth is round. Otherwise, travelers would be falling off the edge all the time. Right? Wrong.
Yes, in fact, that is wrong.
You don't say.
It is a common misconception that when people first hear the words flat Earth, they automatically assume that there is an edge in which one can fall off of.
And from the countless diagrams and maps, etc., that idiots like you propose, they all seem to have an edge.
This is in fact false, and literally zero flat earthers believe in an edge to begin with. Most flat earthers believe there is an ice wall or some sort of barrier which holds the oceans inward.
Citation, please.
Most flat earthers believe that this is Antarctica, which surrounds the flat Earth 360 degrees around.
If this magical ice wall somehow existed, why hasn't anybody who shares your beliefs gone in an air balloon or anything and just taken pictures? If someone somehow managed to prove that the Earth was flat, that guy would get a Nobel Peace Prize, like, almost instantly. Like, that shit would be revolutionary. That should be insane. That'd completely make us rewrite everything we knew about science and physics and everything. So why don't you? Oh wait, oh yeah, because it's bullshit.
Thus, this is the reason the Antarctic Treaty was formed, which restricts the public from freely exploring Antarctica.
Yeah, it has absolutely nothing to do with the fact that it's really dangerous and completely pointless. It has and everything to do with the fact that it's the evil government trying to control your minds.
So while the USA, Russia, and China may appear to be enemies, they can all somehow agree to shake hands and join together in an effort to protect Antarctica for quote-unquote scientific research purposes.
Yeah. No country leader ever has ever been that simple-minded as to not even bother to negotiate anything with countries that currently have tension. Yeah, because that's how reality works, isn't it? Fuck's sake.
And oddly enough, the United Nations uses a flat Earth map as their logo.
No, that's just not Eurocentric. It's just a top-down view. Seriously, how fucking stupid are you? You can clearly see the curvature around countries like America.
Can you see Antarctica on this map?
No, because it's on the other side. But you know what else I don't see? I don't see a big fucking wall surrounding the entire thing either.
Yeah, exactly. Furthermore, if one were to explore what could be beyond Antarctica, one might find the existence of a barrier, dome, or firmament.
Yeah, or maybe it's Legoland, where all of the Lego people are real and are sentient. Or maybe it's heaven. Like, maybe all of the gods are there. We just have to climb over this imaginary wall that nobody's ever seen before.
If we were indeed in an enclosed system, there would physically be no edge in which to fall off of.
And yet no evidence ever has even implied that we live in an enclosed fucking bubble system.
And an even more interesting possibility would be the existence of more land or other worlds beyond Antarctica. The possibility does in fact exist that the Earth is an infinite plane, and thus an end or edge simply does not exist.
And yet you're still to provide a slither of evidence that this wall exists.
So, to assume that the Earth has an edge is like assuming that outer space has an edge. So whenever anyone says to me, "Hey Jake, where's the edge of the flat Earth?" I like to look at them and say, "Hey, where's the edge to outer space?"
Well, in relation to us, the edge to the universe from our perspective is the particle horizon, where anything beyond that, space is expanding so quickly that it would literally take the data being sent to and from us to be going up faster than light for us to actually receive it. So, from our perspective, it's unreachable. It doesn't exist. That's the edge. Shit argument. Try again.
If the Earth was not a ball shape, but was instead a flat disk, like this plate, Well, with the right density and thickness, living in the middle could feel pretty normal. But as you moved toward the edge, gravity on a disk Earth would slightly skew, pushing at a greater and greater angle back toward the center. My friend Nick from Yeti Dynamics put together this great simulation. The person and buildings obviously aren't to scale, but check out how such increasingly diagonal gravity would work. Although this is a flat disk, it would feel to a runner headed toward the edge like they were fighting to climb up a steeper and steeper hill. The building foundations behind the runner reflect how you would have to build structures closer and closer to the edge so that people living in them always felt like down was at right angles to the floor, the way we feel it on our big round Earth. Now, as you approach the edge, things would get scary. Remember, this is a flat Earth, but it would feel like a sheer drop-off. What's really cool is that contrary to the don't fall off the edge fear, on a flat world, because of gravity, the scary risk would actually be falling away from the edge and rolling all the way back to the center. Once you stepped over the edge, instead of falling off into space, you'd be able to relax. It would be a nice, level place. This model, of course, neglects the fact that such a planet shape would be impossible.
Yeah, not only is it impossible, but it's completely ridiculous.
Which is why the flat Earth model is not taken seriously by modern science.
Literally zero flat earthers believe in gravity to begin with.
Oh, finally, something sensible.
And literally zero flat earthers believe that the Earth is some disk floating around in outer space. The concept of outer space is fictitious to begin with.
So you don't believe in gravity, you don't believe in outer space, but you believe in a mystical ice wall that surrounds the entire planet that nobody's actually seen.
And if we were to go above the Earth, 121,000 feet high, you can clearly see that the horizon is flat.
He uses such a tiny unit of measurement to make it seem like that's a gargantuan number, when in reality, 121,000 feet is less than 37 kilometers. Like, that's a half-hour's journey ride in a car going at 60 kilometers an hour. That's a drive from, like, you to the shops at most, like that distance. And he's expecting to see curvature on a planet that's almost 13,000 kilometers in diameter. That's not circumference either, that's diameter. From one side of the planet to the other, there is 13,000 kilometers of just mass.
Yes, that's right. The horizon is always flat, as in horizontal, horizon, horizontal, horizon. They don't call it the curvizon, do they?
Oh, would you look at that? After a quick Google search, you can find that the origins actually came from Greek, meaning limiting circle. If any of his subscribers had actually done a tiniest of Google searches, they would see that this guy's full of shit. But of course they won't do that. Because they're fucking flat earthers. Reality means nothing to these people.
Anything as massive as the Earth, shaped like a flat disk, would, under its own gravity, naturally collapse back into a ball.
Anything as massive as the Earth, shaped like a flat disk, would, under its own gravity, naturally collapse back into a ball.
This isn't any of my camera trickery or I didn't do any of this weird shit. This is all flat Earth assholes doing.
Let me get this straight. If the Earth were flat, due to its own gravity, it would collapse into a ball?
Yes, you fucking idiot. That's how gravity works.
I've never heard of a flat object, flat, collapsing into a ball.
Well, have you ever seen anything as massive as a planet that wasn't a ball? You're not going to see something flat in the middle of space just collapse in on itself, because flat things don't exist in space. You're not just going to find a fucking huge plane of fucking rock that just boom. That's not going to fucking happen for you. Are you really that stupid? I can't. Is this just a really elaborate troll or something?
Have you? Hey, did you see that flat basketball? Yeah, it collapsed and it filled up with air. I think for a flat object to turn into a ball, it would actually have to inflate.
What?
I've never heard of it being flat and then it collapsed and turned into a ball. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Because it can't be flat in the first place.
Flat collapse into a ball? Nah. Ball collapses and turns flat.
Okay, since you can't wrap your mind around something as simple as basic gravity, let me see. Let me show you for you. Let's say this is Earth, right? This sheet of paper is fucking planet Earth. Under its own gravity, this is what had happened to it if it was somehow flat, which is impossible, but this is what had happened to it. And its own gravity would compress itself into a ball shape, although it would be a lot more round than this, as gravity is a lot more evenly spaced out than me screwing up a piece of paper. There, it's really not that fucking difficult.
Get your shit straight, Vsauce. Come on, dude.
This is why in outer space, everything more than a few hundred miles in diameter is round. Or so we've been told. What if gravity isn't real? What if gravity isn't real?
Yeah, this is still flat Earth assholes doing. I'm not desecrating the holy Vsauce.
What if gravity isn't real?
What if the Earth is in fact flat and science has been wrong all along?
Isn't flat. And by the way, this is called gravity.
Sorry, Mr. Tyson, but you are flat out wrong.
Oh, this should be good.
The fact the microphone left your hand and fell back to the earth is a product of its weight and density. The microphone is more dense than the air in which surrounds it, so therefore it fell back to the earth. Much like if you were to jump off of a building, you would fall to the earth because your body weight is more dense than the air in which surrounds it.
You explained something that helps, but you didn't debunk the source. That source being, the force of gravity.
At the same time, you can take a tiny magnet and overpower this magical, mythological force of gravity. You see all these metal objects that should be falling towards the center of the earth? They're actually being overpowered by a tiny magnet.
Water, fire, air, and dirt. Fucking magnets, how do they work?
So the same force of gravity, which holds trillions of gallons of water stuck to a spinning ball, are simply overpowered by a tiny magnet.
Magnetization just kind of acts like a temporary glue. Like if you let go of that fucking magnet, that's gonna drop to the earth like a stone.
And at the same time, if you fill a balloon with helium, it will rise. It will overpower the forces of gravity.
Yeah, because more force is being applied to the air, like the oxygen and the nitrogen, like the air in our atmosphere, than it is being applied to that balloon of helium. Do you need me to explain why helium's lighter? Really?
This is due to buoyancy. Because the helium in the balloon is lighter in which the air that surrounds it then rises.
Yeah, this is irrelevant and has very little to do with gravity, so I'm just going to skip ahead until he stops making the same point over and over again.
The helium can overpower the weight of the balloon itself and rise. If you were to drop the balloon without the helium in it, it would fall back to the earth. But once you put helium into the balloon, its contents are lighter than the air that surrounds it, and can then overpower the weight of the balloon and cause it to rise. The fact that something falls and the fact that something rises is due to density and buoyancy, and nothing else. It's actually very simple. Whereas gravity causes objects to fall towards the supposed center of the earth. The fact that the center of the earth has never been proven causes the entire concept of gravity to fall apart.
The center of the earth hasn't... What?!
As the deepest any humans have ever dug down is in fact only 8 miles deep.
Despite all of the tests that have been carried out from earthquakes and the shockwaves that are sent through the Earth's mantle and bouncing off the core, etc., etc. Nah, if something doesn't exist unless you've seen it, then how come you believe that the Earth is surrounded by a huge fucking ice wall, which you haven't seen? because that genuinely doesn't exist. But the center of a sphere does exist. We might not be able to tell exactly what it's made out of, but you can guarantee that something has a center.
Being we have only dug down 8 miles deep, we have never reached any theoretical core, and therefore the core is just that, simply a theory. Thus, if the molten core has never been proven to exist, then that means the center of the Earth has also not been proven to exist.
The theory of gravity doesn't revolve around the center of the Earth. That's just where most of the mass just happens to be. Like, you don't need a center of the Earth for gravity to exist. You just need an object with lots of mass. That's all you fucking need. And hey presto, it's observable.
If the concept of gravity is constructed around a supposed attraction toward the unproven center of the Earth,
which it isn't,
then that means the entire concept of gravity itself is baseless and purely hypothetical.
Despite its effects being observable literally anywhere on the planet, and has yet to have a slither of evidence disproving it. Well, yeah, if you completely ignore those two glaring obvious truths, then I suppose it is just purely hypothetical.
It's a misconception that Christopher Columbus discovered that the Earth is round. Virtually every scholar and major religion in the West accepted Earth's rotundity since at least the time of the ancient Greeks, who, for instance, had noticed that boats disappear bottom first when sailing away, and as you walk north and south, stars pop into and out of view.
Oh boy, here we go again with the old boats on the horizon argument. You know, this is actually one of the easiest quote-unquote proofs to debunk.
Ah, then you'll have no problem doing it then. Right?
Yeah, all you have to do is go to the beach, watch a boat disappear from your eye, and then pull out your telescope, your binoculars, or your high-powered zoom camera, and you can pull the entire boat back into view, whole mass and all. That's because boats don't disappear over curvature. Boats disappear due to perspective. See this boat? See the buoy? Watch, when you zoom out, they'll completely disappear. Whoop! Gone.
That is such an obvious fake. Look at it zoomed in. Watch this shit zoomed in. This is fucking hilarious.
Gone. And if you were to reverse that process and zoom back in on it, they would reappear. That's because they're not over the curvature of the Earth.
Yeah, and has literally nothing to do with the camera's focus and how many pixels it can have on one screen. Something smaller than 1 pixel will disappear. Who the fuck would have thought that'd happen?
Once again, you zoom in on the boat after it disappears from your eye, and it comes all the way back into view. And then zip away from your view, zoom out, and there it goes. Goodbye, little boat. Goodbye. And as for seeing stars in different places, well, on a flat Earth, this makes perfect sense. Here's North America, and here's Australia. Yeah, we see different stars. On a flat Earth, we see different stars in 2 different continents, and on a globe, you see different stars in different continents. Hello!
Yeah, that's a straw man. Like, that's not what he was trying to argue.
The misconception that only a few hundred years ago lots and lots of people believed the Earth was flat likely began in the modern era as a sort of insult, well, your people recently thought the Earth was flat, so why should we believe you now? The smear was repeated and published so often it became accepted as historical fact. Flat earther became synonymous with anti-science. It might seem flat over short distances, but over longer ones, well, the Earth is pretty darn curvy. The Verrazano Narrows Bridge, connecting Staten Island and Brooklyn, had to be designed with Earth's roundness in mind. Its 2 towers, separated by 1,300 meters and perfectly vertical, are nonetheless 41 millimeters further apart at the top than at the bottom because of Earth's curvature.
The argument is not whether the bridge is curved, the argument is whether the Earth is curved. We can indeed build a bridge with curvature. However, the water underneath the bridge will naturally find and maintain its level. If we were to draw a straight line from one side of the bridge to the other, we can clearly see that the water underneath the bridge is 100% flat and level.
But the water is literally sea level, and the bridge is higher up. Of course, the curvature is going to be more prevalent in the fucking bridge.
However, the bridge is indeed curved. This just proves you can build a bridge with curvature, but the water underneath the bridge is indeed 100% flat.
His point, it wasn't, haha, this bridge is curved, so the world is curved. No, his point was, when they were building the bridge, they needed to make it curved to take into account of the Earth's curvature itself. Like, the bridge wasn't to fucking prove you wrong. The bridge was to be a fucking bridge. Like, do you really think they'd waste time and effort making a fucking curve? Just to have some half-ass evidence to disprove your weird theory, which doesn't have any evidence backing up in the first place? No, they wouldn't.
In the 3rd century BC, Eratosthenes measured the differences between shadows cast by poles in Syene and Alexandria to calculate, more than 2,000 years before rockets and space travel, the circumference of the entire globular Earth, with, for the time, impressive accuracy. Word got around that the Earth was a round shape after that. But in 1906, Wilbur Glenn Vsauce became head of a slightly bizarre religious sect that pretty much ran the city of Zion, Illinois. Vsauce believed that the Earth was actually flat, and he enforced flat Earth teachings in schools in Zion. He also enforced that belief on really anyone who entered the city. Vsauce believed not only that the Earth was flat, but that the sun was only a few thousand miles away from Earth, not 93 million. He also believed that the sun was only 32 miles across, not 860,000. He sounds crazy. Or does he?
Yes, Michael, he does sound crazy.
You see, the same phenomenon Eratosthenes measured could be explained by a flat Earth if the sun were only a few thousand miles away and 32 miles across. The math would work out the same. Today, with the power of the internet, modern-day flat earthers have picked up where Vsauce left off. They have quite good explanations for any evidence you throw at them that the Earth is round. Circumnavigation is really just a flat circle path. The round shadow Earth casts on the moon during a lunar eclipse could also be made by a flat disk. Time zones are caused by a spotlight sun. And remember how gravity would be totally different on a disk-shaped planet? Well, they argue that gravity as we know it simply doesn't exist. The flat disk of Earth is merely accelerating up at 9.8 meters per second.
Whoa! Hold up. Time out. Wait a minute. Penalty flag on the field. Vsauce. Bro, literally 0 flat earthers believe that the Earth is accelerating upward. I know I've been using absolutes in this video, but I'm telling you, literally 0 flat earthers believe that the Earth is accelerating upward. I've already explained. Gravity isn't real and the Earth isn't moving.
You haven't explained that, you've stated it, and masked it behind explaining buoyancy and air pressure.
The fact that Vsauce even brought this up just shows that he's a disinfo agent or he's a complete sheeple.
If literally no flat earthers believed it, then it wouldn't have its own page on the Flat Earth Wiki. Shit argument. Try again.
The Flat Earth Society is a controlled opposition group used to make the Flat Earth concept look like it's completely insane.
Citation, please.
So what they do is they mix truth with disinformation. That's right, they mix the truth in with not truth to make the whole thing look crazy. It's very similar to what Alex Jones does. Alex Jones will tell you the truth on some subjects, but he'll completely lie to you on others. He's a disinfo agent. And that's exactly what the Flat Earth Society is. It's a disinfo organization. And that's exactly why Vsauce has brought them up.
And I'm still waiting for this evidence, even though I know it isn't coming.
To steer you away from the flat earth truth.
As for all of the photos and video evidence we now have that the Earth is round thanks to space exploration, well, all of that material is completely fabricated. A hoax perpetrated by Big Globe. Space agencies, airlines, globe manufacturers, they are reaping the rewards of our ignorant belief that the Earth is actually round. They know, of course, that it's flat, and they're hiding that truth from us. Is it merely a coincidence that the logo used by the Flat Earth Society is a projection of Earth centered on the North Pole and also happens to be the projection used by the United Nations? Are these people for real? It is ball-shaped to some observers and flat to others. There doesn't appear to be a single most correctest in all circumstances answer. Susan Hack compares knowledge to a crossword puzzle. New answers interweave with old ones. They all reinforce one another. The clues are the questions we ask, and the way the answers fall into a predetermined grid, well, that's our confidence that we're on the right track. But that doesn't mean that one day there will be a finished puzzle, a complete answer. Our knowledge about the outside world might be the same. A puzzle with no answer key, just the reassurance that the answers we think we know fit together, so they're probably correct, though there's always the possibility that the answer to one clue or all of them will fundamentally not have a single definite satisfying answer. The puzzle may be playable forever. I like what Richard Feynman says about this. Some people say, how can you live without knowing? I do not know what they mean. I always live without knowing. That is easy. How you get to know is what I want to know. You know? And as always, thanks for watching.
Oh, I completely agree, Mr. Vsauce. And if you or anybody else wants to know about what type of Earth they live on, all they have to do is use their observations and their senses that they were created with, and they will come to find out the Earth is indeed not spinning, not moving, and it's definitely flat.
Pretty sure that he was joking in that ending.
Now, excuse me while I get serious for a minute. As you can see, I destroyed every single one of Vsauce's arguments.
Even though you really didn't, but okay.
This is what happens when a flat earther and a globe earther do battle. The flat earth always wins, because the flat earth is truth.